Today, Ishai and Kraum partner up with this commander deck that is going to punish our opponents for every action they make. That's why today's deck is called I Wouldn't Do That If I Were You. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to Commander Budgeteer, creating inexpensive commander decks on a budget so that you can play the best format in Magic without breaking the bank, and all for the price of about a pre-con deck. If you like the show, be sure to hit that subscribe button as it really helps the channel out and it's at no cost to you. Now, let's jump straight into our commander for the day. The reason this deck is called I Wouldn't Do That If I Were You is because it revolves around a theme of we're going to get value every single time our opponents do something. And we see that shown in our two commanders for the day. So our main one is Ishai, Ojutai DragonSpeaker, and every time our opponents cast a spell, we're going to put a +1/+1 counter on it. So if we can keep him or her around, it's going to last a very long time. Kraum is just a nice addition that gives us access to red that can sometimes give us a little bit of access to card draw if we can get him out. We also have a lot of cards like Taurean Mauler that have the text whenever an opponent and then fill in the blank. So Taurean Mauler, similar to Ishai, is just going to get pumped up. Well, let's take a look at a couple others that are also going to help us. So Cosi's Trickster, very great turn one play. Again, also just putting +1/+1 counters on things. We have a lot of other cards that do more than just putting +1/+1 counters on stuff, like Niv-Mizzet. When someone casts an instant or sorcery, we're going to draw a card. Perplexing Chimera is a very difficult card for opponents to play around, as we get the option of stealing any spell they put on the stack. There's also other cards down low that we can see that are also going to help us, like Aven Mindcensor. If an opponent is going to search their library, we can flash that in and instead let them only search the top 4, which can be absolutely horrifying for them. Or something simple like Soldier of Pantheon. Every time an opponent casts a spell, we're going to gain some life. So our main win con in the deck is swinging in with Ishai for commander damage, but to do that, she's going to need to get really big and get really strong to really have an impact, and we don't have any pump spells. So because of that, we're running several counter spells, and several of them are specific to protecting from targeted removal. We don't have a lot of stuff to protect against board wipes, but that's a risk we're going to take. So you can see things like Dispel, which will counter a target instant spell, or Intervene, which will target something that targets Ishai, or one of my favorites, Wild Ricochet, which is just going to really throw that back in their face and say, I wouldn't do that, and I'm going to take your removal spell and just point it at your own thing. And you can see some other counter spells we have there at the bottom. Now, we do occasionally still want to wipe the board, but again, we really want to keep Ishai out there. So we have things like Urza's Ruinous Blast, which is going to destroy everything that's not legendary, which is pretty great for us because we mostly just care about Ishai. We also have Magmaquake, and Ishai has flying, if you didn't notice, so Magmaquake will keep him alive and deal a bunch of damage, and we can even, alternate and decide what we want X to be to hit the things that we want it to be. Also, Chroma's Vengeance, very good. It will destroy Ishai, but because we don't have a ton of artifacts, we do have some key enchantments, and the ability to cycle that makes it really versatile and still useful in the deck. So our hope with board wipes is to keep Ishai around and destroy at least a good amount of the board to maybe help us out. So we also do have some key enchantments like I remembered that I just wanted to point out. One of my personally favorite cards is War's Toll. Some people might think it's oppressive, but I think it's hilarious. So whenever an opponent taps a land, they still get to tap it for mana. We're not going to keep them from playing the game, but they're going to have to play all of their mana on one turn, which makes it very hard to hold up counter spells and to interact on other people's turns. And it's also going to make people not want to throw in for chip damage, because if they attack with one creature, they have to attack with everything. Aether Sting is a perfect fit in this deck. If someone casts a spell, it's going to deal 1 damage to them. And Lilting Refrain, another way to help out keeping Ishai around, but to hold it up so people can see it and maybe get even a little more value by people being afraid, you will sack it. Now, just like any other great deck, we do need some card draw, and I would say the card draw in this deck is very solid. Reparation's a perfect fit for us. If someone is going to target us or a creature we control, we're going to get a card. Great. Baird of Thassa. We're going to always basically be attacking with Ishai at least, and so that's going to give us a card a turn, and we have several other creatures in the deck that are not bad. Nezahal at 7 CMC is a big cost, but it's also a very strong creature. And anytime an opponent casts a non-creature spell, we're going to draw a card. Fantastic. We can see some other ones down at the bottom. They're going to help us. Loyal Drake, if we have Ishai out, which we're always hoping to do, we're going to draw a card each turn. Couple things give us cards when we attack, couple give us cards when other people attack us, and we've got just a couple like Divination and Treasure Cruise, just spin the spell to cast. So, the weakest part of the deck, however, is ramp. Being in Jeskai, we would have to spend at least, the decent big bucks to get some good ramps. So, and it's not extremely crucial that we ramp out in this deck. We don't have a ton of big stuff. So you can see we got a couple key runes and clue stones jammed in there. Jeskai Banner is nice because it's going to fix our mana, and a bad Darksteel Ingot, not the worst thing. Give us a little access to mana. So if you wanted to make this deck bit better, I would certainly recommend going to upgrade the ramp first because it's pretty rough. Let's not lie. Only 7 ramp cards. You could maybe make room for 2 or 3 more, but I think 7's a good number if you just upgraded the level of those cards. Now, all that being said, the deck's kind of laid out and the engine is there. So what are our game winners? What's going to close out the game for us? First, we obviously mentioned Ishai and keeping her alive. So that one's obvious. But that, we want cards that are going to really help us play the game. So Flying Crane Technique, 6 CMC, untap all creatures you control. They gain flying and double strike until end of turn. So pretty insane. Can be used on offense or defense, actually. If you want to swing with everything, knowing you have this Flying Crane Technique and you're going to be able to untap and have a bunch of double strikers for blockers, that can really catch someone out of nowhere. And it's also good on offense to just play this and give all your stuff flying and double strike and potentially close out a game like that. Deflecting Palm is a much more niche kind of win card, but there are times if you hold this card up until the right time late game, it can completely change someone's calculations for damage and can completely change the tide of a game on a single card just for red and white mana for 2. So hopefully that game, and this is a very hopefully resilient deck. We want people to say, oh my goodness, we have to deal with Ishai, and we want to have responses to that. That's our whole goal with the deck. So that's the deck. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if there's cards you think I forgot or that would fit, and you can check out the entire deck list below, as well as go buy these cards on TCG Player. I'm going to put up on the screen what it's currently going for right now, so you can check that out. Should be around $40, but I don't have it in front of me at the time of recording this audio, so you can just take a look at the visuals on your screen. Also, go check out my other videos. If you liked the video, it really does help me if you just subscribe and give me a like or hit that share button. So thanks for joining me today. Hope you have an awesome day, and go play a fun game of Commander.